So let's now take a look at the document itself. So you can see that the document starts off with some more introductory sections which touch on a lot of the ideas we've just talked about. So for example, we've got a section on supracurricular activity and how it's different to extracurricular activity, why supracurricular activity is important, and how supracurricular activity might differ depending on the subject area that you're applying for. And the next section is a introduction to some of our more non-subject specific resources, and which we think are a really good starting point for your supracurricular exploration. So you can see we've got, for example, links to quality journalism, podcasts, videos, online courses, and some reading lists produced by Cambridge and Oxford. We then go down to our more subject-specific section. As I said earlier, the resources are organised according to all the different undergraduate degrees available at Cambridge. So the first thing you want to do is find the course that fits most closely with your interests. To do that, you can click on the following link, which will take you to our undergraduate study page. And here you can see we have suggested particular courses that fit with your interests. So for example, if you were really interested in ancient languages, you might like to consider classics or theology or archaeology, and you can click on the link to take you to that particular course page and find out more. And at this point, I really would encourage you to be open-minded about the different courses you could study. Courses often have a lot of crossover between them, and it's really worth exploring related subjects to see if there could be something that really interests you that you hadn't considered before. So for example, if you're interested in ancient languages, why not have a look at classics, theology and archaeology to see which of those really interests you. So once you've selected the course or courses that you're interested in, you can then navigate to them below using the menu here. So let's take economics as an example. So here we are on the economics page, and you can see that for every subject we've provided a kind of general introduction to how the course works at Cambridge, as well as the particular skills and knowledge that will be really important to develop. So here, for example, for economics, maths and logical and analytical thinking skills are really important because mathematics is going to be a very major part of the course. But there's also a really important essay writing side because you'll be looking at related papers such as economic theory, history and politics. And we think it's really important to draw your attention to these skills and knowledge because you can use the resources in more of a targeted, informed way. So you can really use these resources to actively develop some of the skills and knowledge which we've suggested here in the introduction. So let's have a little look at the resources themselves. So we always start off with a general resources section, which always begins with the course page for that subject. And please do get into the habit of looking at these course pages thoroughly, as it will give you a really good sense of how the course works, what topics you might be doing, as well as the entrance requirements for that particular subject. So let's take a look at economics. And you can see you've got a course outline section, just going to give you an idea of what you might be studying and how it's assessed, entry requirements, and a really good resources page. And every single one of the courses at Cambridge have this resources tab, and I think it's a really good habit to get into to start looking at that quite thoroughly because you'll find some really excellent resources here. So for economics we have a preparatory reading list which the faculty have prepared for you, so that's going to be extremely helpful already to kickstart your supercurricular exploration. So let's go back to our document here, and then you can see we've got a range of other resources, so for example some suggested reading, journals, websites, videos and podcasts. And as I said before, we really are keen for you to explore any related subjects that you might find interesting, which is why for every course page we've also got a final you may also be interested in section where we suggest some related courses. So for economics we think you might also be interested in mathematics and land economy. Now this is a good example of being open-minded because land economy is actually a course specific to Cambridge which you might never have heard of, And it's a course that is particularly suited to those who are interested in mathematics, economics, the environment and law. So let's take a look at land economy, shall we? And again, you can see we've got the same kind of layout here. So an introduction, some general resources, including the course website, of course, right at the top, and then some other resources such as suggested reading, websites and so forth. Now, I know that it can be quite daunting to explore a brand new subject, and land economy is definitely going to be a brand new subject for people. But I think what I'd like to point out is that it's good to kind of start off quite generally and get a really good overview of the key topics and ideas and debates within your subject, and then to start narrowing your search depending on your particular lines of inquiry. So you might like to, for example, start off with a very short introduction. They're always a really great overview of the course. And then you can start looking at some more specific topics and areas that you find interesting. So for example, here we've actually suggested some sort of introductory articles. So there's an article telling you where to start with land economy, and then you might like to look at some more specific things. So for example, some films here. You might like to look at our reading guide and have a look at any more specific topics within that reading after you've had a look at some of the introductory works, of course. So please don't feel too overwhelmed as well, because as I said earlier, it is quality over quantity and depth over breadth. So although it's good to get a really good sound overview of the course, please don't feel that you have to be reading loads and loads and loads of different things and talking about them in your personal statement. Again, it is going down a specific line of inquiry in detail and depth rather than just talking about lots and lots of different things. So I hope that gives you a good overview of our resource sheet here, and I really hope that you enjoy using it. So we really want you to find supercurricular exploration a really fun and enjoyable process. So don't feel that you have to be, as I said earlier, doing anything just because it looks impressive. Do something because it genuinely interests you, and I hope you find that enjoyable. So thank you very much for listening to and watching my video. If you've got any questions, please do drop us a line at outreach@lucy.cam.ac.uk. We're always delighted to hear from you. So happy exploring. Thank you very much.